Hey everyone, welcome back, and today we'll see another theory question, which is driving port in join. So it's a famous one and most repeated one. Okay, so not even 273, like it's been repeating over the last few years. Even in this year, EXL has asked this question. Okay, so for the namesake, I just given EY 273. Okay, so we'll discuss on this topic today. And then if you're new to the channel, you can click on the link above. I'll just paste that. You can go and watch the entire playlist there. Okay, so we'll get started with this session. Okay, expectation would be, these are like, see, there be some questions, okay, like regarding memory, okay, memory, and then space, and then some config, okay, and then some files, okay, some, like for example, a dot profile versus dot Abinitio or C, okay. So there are like some questions which we need to understand from a developer, like from a developer perspective, okay. So these are questions from from that area, okay. So being a developer, you have to understand some concepts which will help you to solve these questions, okay. So they will be testing your knowledge on this one, okay. So for here, like here, for example, they will ask you what's the driving port in join, and then what's the purpose, and then how do you configure, okay. So total questions would be okay. So for this you have to understand join, okay. So that's it. And then driving port, okay. So okay, so you have to understand this, and then the questions, okay. So the questions would be like what is driving port, okay. And then second one is how do you configure, okay. And then third one is what's the purpose of that, okay. So these are three questions that can be asked from this concept, okay. So we'll solve all these questions, okay. So we'll see completely today, no, from all these three questions, okay. So first we'll start with the design, okay. So first I'll just come to driving port later, okay. So first we'll solve the driving, how do you configure, okay. So this part will solve that. So for configuring this, okay. So you put to, like, see, you can make n number of inputs here, right? Like for example, we'll take two inputs, okay. So two inputs joining to join, okay, like connecting to join and then to output, okay. So here what we'll do, we'll configure, okay. So we have a configuration, right? So you open the parameter, okay. So let's say this is a parameter, okay. So go to parameter tabs, okay. So here we have a sorted input, right? So see, for the driving port to enable, okay. So for this port to enable, you have to, we have to set this as a false, okay. So only then, you remember, only then you can see driving port, like driving parameter down the line, okay. So down the parameter tab. So this one you remember, okay. So please take a note of this, okay. So if you mainly set this to false, you will get the driving port no on the down, okay. So if you scroll down, you'll get the driving port. So driving port, so now we'll see the driving port since we have the sorted input as false, okay. So here this one is nothing but integer type. So okay, so the parameter itself integer type, okay. So that means you should have the number, okay. So you should have either 0 or 1, like that, right? So what I will do is that I will just specify 1, okay. So that means, okay, so this is a configuration, okay. So now we'll come to driving port, okay. What is driving port? So now driving port 1, so that means you know in 1, so in 1 is, okay, in 1 will be driving this join operation. You consider this one, okay. You consider this like story, okay, like a story. So okay, so now why in 1, okay. And then what is driving port, okay. So these areas will cover. So we have completed the configuration part. So this is a configuration, okay. So so you have to set it as 0 or 1 depending on the input, okay. You have to analyze the input, and then you have to see like why we are setting that, okay. So now we'll go for y in 1, okay. So now in my data, okay, in my data, in 0 and in 1. Okay, so my data in 1, let's say in 0, okay, in 0 has you said 10 records, okay, in 1 as you know like 1 million records, okay, so this one is 1 million record, okay. So now what happens is that, see, now what happens is that normally, see, people will blindly tell the answer, okay. So some candidates will blindly tell, okay, take the largest input and then assign to driving port, okay. So that is true, okay. So now reason is, I'll just add a comment. I'll just add a comment here, okay. So because this is the largest input, okay, that's the true answer. But the reason, if they ask you the reason, you have to tell them properly, okay. So this is one of the correct answer, okay. So largest input, okay. So now why are we setting the largest input, input port as the driving, okay. So why can't 0, okay. So why don't we set as 0, okay. So why should we set as 1, okay. So that, for that, you have to understand what is driving port, okay. So see, whatever ports, okay. So that's nothing but this driving port parameter will will just specify join, okay. So which port should uh, should drive this operation, join operation, okay. So that other port, okay, other port will will be quickly, okay, quickly read into memory, okay. So consider in here, okay, in our given data, in 0 and in 1, okay. So obviously everyone knows, like, we'll be setting in 1 as a driving, okay. So that means if you set a in 1 as a driving, you'll have a mark here, okay. So you'll have a black mark here, okay. If you open your GD, if you set that in this port side, you have black mark, so that means in 1 is a driving port, okay. So now what happens is that, so in 1 is the driving, right? So in 0 10 record, that one will act as a lookup, okay. So this will act as a lookup, okay. So meaning your join, okay, so join reads the, okay, so these records, okay, into memory, okay. So when join operation comes, okay, so when join operation enables, okay, no is when join operation starts, okay, starts, what happens, each record, okay. So each record from this lookup, each record, from this lookup, okay, from this lookup, okay. So now join will read this into memory. It will have a own lookup table, okay. It will store it in the own lookup, and then it will match against, your your matching key, okay, your key on the in one, okay. So that so that what happens, if this in 0 in 10 record reads into memory, then each record, okay, so each record will be matched against the other ports, and then the performance will be faster. Suppose if you consider, if you consider in 0 as your driving port, then what happens, other port will be ready to memory, right? So if you try to read this into memory, this will be, will take a long time, okay. So assign to memory, and then accessing the memory, everything, okay. So everything will take a long time, okay. So if you go on other side, okay, so what happens, if I said, okay, what if I set in 0 as driving, okay. So for this question, what happens, the other port will act as lookup, okay. So lookup, okay, that means your join will read, will read 1 million, okay, into memory, right? So what happens, the process will slow down, okay. So the cons will be, process will slow down, okay, since here like memory, memory storage, access, and then the operation as well, okay. So you have matching operation, right? So that too, if you have like we have unsorted data, no. So all this process, okay, so everything will happen this joint process, and then entirely joint process will slow down, okay. So that's why recommendation, okay. So your process improvement technique, so this is one of the process like performance improvement techniques, okay. So this performance improvement technique, okay. So this comes under performance technique questions. Okay, so here that's why they advise you to set, set largest port as driving. Okay, so that other port will be read into memory, and then this port, whatever records present here, that will be matched against the port, okay, other port. Okay, so that so that you have a smooth process. Okay, your performance will be, you know your performance will be, better. Okay, so that's why like in this data, so you can see this is example. Okay, so example, just from the configuration, so this is a configuration, this is example. Okay, so it's a watting driving, like driving port, and then what happens if you set other port as a driving. Okay, so you should be able to answer all these type of questions. Okay, so that's how you can crack the interview. Okay, because see, no they start with what is driving port, a recruiter will start with this question, and then how do you configure this. Okay, and then they'll tell you example as well. Okay, and then they will give you this like other workaround question as well. Okay, so what if I set other port as driving, what happens. Okay, so like see, all for all these questions you have to practice, and then it may look like a simple question. Okay, from the from the like from the like from your global view. Okay, but if you go deeper, you will get more meaningful for this settings, for the settings, and then for this example as well. Okay, so example and everything is important. So and they will ask you like, what happens if you have same thousand records. Okay, so those questions you have to tackle those questions. Okay, for that you have to understand this process. Okay, so what if you have the same amount of data in the both output, both input. Okay, so for those you have to understand this technique. Okay, so that's what like I wanted to cover this. Okay, cover this in today's session. So so this is I covered the purpose as well. Okay, so it's a performance improvement technique question. Okay, so there are like lot of performance improvement technique question, so you have to cover. Okay, so concept checklist. Apart from this one, if you are a senior, you have to understand the performance improvement techniques. Okay, so that one is important. Okay, so this one is highly important. So if you are a 5 plus or 6 plus. Okay, so you should understand the techniques that will improve the performance of a graph, okay, of your retail design. So that's it for today. So I hope you find this video useful. You share it, like please share with your friends. Okay, and for any technical help you can approach this page. Okay, so like I'll just see you guys in today, like tomorrow's video, and until then, bye bye.